Cheeky breaky of Thunker. Alright, let's do this. Developer commentary, War Thunder Update 1.77. Let's hear it from the game devs, what their talking points are for this major update to the game, and I'll be pausing quite a bit to make stupid comments because I'm bored. Alright, let's do this. Oh, by the way, I am insufferable in the movie theater. I'm that guy that talks all the time. Okay.
Hi everybody, my name is Kirill Yudintsev. I'm the
Good. I don't speak Russian.
creative director at Gaijin, and right now I'd like to tell you a little about the latest update, 1.77 Advancing Storm.
He will be telling us very little. Carry on.
We had a lot of feedback
Was that a spasivat I heard?
about the latest update. Thanks for waiting to us. Your feedback is very
Wait, thanks for waiting to us? Who's translating this into English? Maybe I heard that wrong.
important and useful. Among other things, a lot of the feedback was about the new engine, the new renderer, the new graphics, and
Russian bias.
the changes to the game's performance. Performance has improved for some players and become worse for others.
No, the game's crashing all the time, but that's what happens with every update.
Some of the players who experienced worse performance were using super sampling, SSAA. Super sampling is the most resource-intensive form of anti-aliasing. We do not recommend enabling it unless your video card is very powerful and you get at least
Sad face.
200 FPS without it. For everyone else, there are options that are simpler in terms of performance and can provide results that are just as good.
Bored, skipping ahead.
The new engine has given the game a lot of new capabilities, but we've still got some things to work on, and there's definitely room to improve optimization. These new capabilities require a lot.
To be honest, War Thunder is a very well optimized game. It runs a lot better than another tank game on PCs that are not as good. It's actually one of the reasons that I stuck with this game. Carrying on.
A lot of configuration, and we need to take a lot of nuances into account. The update just came out, and at some point over the next 6 months, we're going to improve various aspects of the game's appearance, as well as its performance. So if you're
Fun fact, in the background image, you can see how aerial cannons actually work. You fire them, and then the rounds just stop mid-air. That's why you get sparks.
your performance has gotten worse, it's possible that we'll be able to find a way to improve it in the future. A large number of players have been asking us about the Navy.
Actually, it's just been me. I've made 1 billion fake accounts just to keep asking. Please, when can we get Boat Thunder? I want to play them, but I want to get RP and Silver Lions for playing them. I can't wait. I'm seriously excited about Naval. I need to stop talking about it. Let's hear old Kirill Udinets talk about it.
How the pre-CBT of War Thunder Navy has been going,
Slowly.
what its eventual fate will be,
Probably sinking.
and what our future plans are.
To harvest money from us. But that's fine. I'll pour in as much cash as I have to. I'll mow more lawns, I promise. I just want Boat Thunder. I want it so bad.
Testing is going well, we've done a lot, and we don't have all that much left in our to-do list in general.
Woo! Except add submarines, right? Except add submarines?
We're approaching getting into closed beta testing. The Naval has changed profoundly over the last 2 years.
Yeah, it used to be terrible. Now it's honestly the most fun game mode that I've played, but I just don't play it because I can't grind yet. There's nothing to unlock. Okay, moving on.
It has traveled a long road from what it was at the beginning of CBT
It was terrible.
and what it has become now.
Mostly boring.
And all that's happened exclusively thanks to our players, their feedback,
Feedback. Okay, honestly, there is some good feedback.
and their opinions. We've been listening to them, we watched them play, and we tested and played with them.
I honestly believe they have done that for Naval CBT. It's kind of neat. Moving on.
слушали, что они пишут, мы смотрели, как они играют, мы
Our goal is to make everything.
I love how there was like a wall of Russian text and then he just starts talking like half a minute later. It's kind of like, what's that movie where they're talking to this Indian chief and he's giving this big old long answer rattling off and off and off and off. And they're like, he says, good idea. Alright, moving on.
Fun and engaging, and we don't want naval play to disappoint our players. We want it to satisfy their expectations. As far as we're concerned,
also, I just noticed that like typical like Russian eye look, I think I would describe that as politically neutral for no special reason. I'm not still bitter about the Trump thing getting taken down. Just put a lot of work into it, you know, and I had other stuff to do that day, but I dedicated my time. And then I got a red notice on live.warthunder, and okay, it hurt my feelings, okay? Moving on.
we achieved almost everything we could, everything we wanted, and everything our players wanted.
What kind of statement is we achieved almost everything we could? I guess that's like saying you tried hard? I don't know, but I am honestly impressed with where this game has gone, as far as adding things to it. Balance? It's not perfect yet. Moving on.
Wanted. In other words, we're at the end of this initial stage. Our players often ask us what our future plans are for aircraft.
That's a nice way of putting it. The question actually is, when will you fix AirRB? Carry on.
They want to know why we keep coming out with all sorts of things, including modern vehicles for tank commanders, but when it comes to aircraft, there's nothing like that.
Or how about the fact that there's only one meta? I think people are talking about that as well. Carry on. Also, where I paused it last there, that was a great spot with this eye position. That was not politically neutral. That was probably like a lawful or a chaotic evil, maybe a little neutral evil, just because. Anyway, moving on.
The first thing I should point out is that before we introduced ground vehicles, we dedicated about 4 years exclusively to developing the aviation.
And then they never touched it again.
Another 4 years have passed since we introduced ground vehicles, and during that time we've never stopped developing both parts of the game in parallel.
Parallel does not mean equity. Moving on.
It's just that the majority of the most important things we could have implemented for aircraft have already been implemented.
How about targets for my attackers? I'm never going to shut up about that. Some maps just don't have enough red dots for me to blow up. Your boy want a ground strike. Your boy want a ground strike so hard. You can't give me a 75mm nose-mounted cannon in a premium vehicle and not give me targets to derp with it. Anyway, moving on. That's only a few maps. Some maps are good.
We've been adding some rather significant things every year. For example, we introduced gunner cockpits relatively recently.
Yeah, people love that. Oh wait, they don't?
And we've made it possible for planes to be destroyed by mid-air collisions with falling bombs.
Oh yeah, people love that. Oh wait, they don't?
In the same update. In general, we've been introducing all sorts of things.
Oh, he didn't mention that you can actually blow up tanks with torpedoes now. You should definitely try that while you can.
But they're mostly smaller things because all the big stuff has already been done.
Innuendo.
The next major step we can take when it comes to aircraft will probably be noticed by everyone. I'm talking about switching to more modern supersonic planes and introducing guided missiles.
Okay, so he says that's the next big step. And he's going to backpedal later and say it might not happen. But let's carry on.
And other modern aviation technology.
In other words, they're saying nothing here. They're bringing up the subject and then they're saying, yeah, we might put him in. That would be the next big step. Also, you might not see that happen.
As I said earlier, we've been conducting and continuing.
iTwitch is shady.
to conduct internal testing, and the results aren't exactly unambiguous. Vehicles on this level make things complicated thanks to missiles, detection systems, and supersonic speeds.
In other words, they don't know what they're doing, and they reserve the right to not implement this. That's important, so don't get the hype too much. Also, it looks like Kiril's lips have been peeling. I can relate to that. My lips peel really badly. Do you eat your dead skin, bud? Bet you do. I do.
При такой технике, при таком уровне техники, при ракетах, при системах обнаружения, при...
Another wall of Russian text with no translation. Moving on.
All of our players who fly planes know that jets are already rather different from piston-engine aircraft in
Ooh, we're zooming in for this tender moment.
terms of gameplay. And there are plenty of people who don't like this difference. Future changes will alter the game even more.
We've noticed how much you love top-tier jets and 7.0, 8.0, 9.0 battle rating system. So hold on to your britches for what comes next, because if you thought it wasn't balanced there, oh boy.
So we're testing.
Not trying to sound bitter here, guys. Just trying to translate for you.
And right now, I'm not ready to say that more modern aircraft will definitely appear in the game.
See, it just might not happen. You heard it here from the horse's mouth, as it were. You guys are all looking for it. It might not happen. I think it's coming, and I think it might destroy top tier. But top tier's already been destroyed so many times that that's just the way it is. The trickle-down effect could be nice. If there's a new top tier for everyone to hate, then maybe the current top tier can actually become playable.
But there's still a good chance that more modern planes of some kind will be introduced.
Ground attackers, modern 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 ground attackers, and say it!
I cannot give you any details. We're still in the research and the experimentation phase.
Ah, he didn't say it. We all know it. Modern ground attackers.
With the goal of determining the upper limit. There's also the issue that there are fewer and fewer different production models of vehicles, so balancing various nations becomes problematic. There are a lot of nuances and questions, and that is an extremely complex task in terms of gameplay, balance, and how to explain it all to our players.
He's not lying. That's the toughest thing about this game, is balancing things, honestly. And that's what people complain about, because it's just the hardest thing to make work, especially in a game like this. It really is a tough task. Moving on.
И такое-то. Это прямо отдельная сложная задача и в плане как игрокам играть, и в плане...
Another wall of text with no translation. Good idea.
Как объяснять, и в плане как...
As you know, we don't invent new vehicles or change the stats of existing ones.
Bullpucky.
So if balance was an issue in real life, that's also going to be a problem with the vehicles in the game. In general, there's a lot of work, and most of our players won't necessarily be pleased with the results. That being said, in our game, you don't need to play with every vehicle.
Aw, no, seriously though, take a moment. This is a sad boy we're looking at right here. He knows they worked hard for a lot of stuff, and he knows that people just aren't going to like some of the stuff that he worked so hard on. I made these. I made these for you. You don't like them? It's okay. Pour one out for Sad Boy, guys. I know what it's like to make content that nobody appreciates.
There's something you don't like, don't play with it. So we're still working on this.
Don't play with it. Seriously, don't play with it.
For those players who will like it, but I cannot tell you any more about certain plans right now. In addition, we're also experimenting with...
Wait, was that just his way of saying that vehicles are going to be introduced into the game that nobody wants to play? Hey, but I can't tell you anymore. You know, get excited for the stuff that we don't think you're going to want to play.
Helicopters, both attack helicopters.
Woo, helicopters. Yeah, that'll be cool. I always wanted airplanes to hold still so I could shoot them properly, so helicopters. A new way to harvest noobs. Man, could you imagine an actually skilled helicopter pilot? I saw Mike Goes Boom showing off some helicopter gameplay in the April Fool's event last year, and man, those things can maneuver if you know what you're doing. They can also crash straight into the ground, so we'll have to see how they get implemented. That's actually pretty exciting. I'm excited for helicopters. Moving on. Oh, also, helicopters, great way to flank people that are in those inaccessible points on maps that have been previously really, really strong. But top tier AA will probably shred them to pieces, especially since it has radar that's capable of detecting them through hills and such, so we'll have to see how that can be countered. Maybe as a helicopter you do a quick sweep and wipe out the AA, and then start taking down camping noobs on the... or I shouldn't say camping noobs. Camping people on the map, some of whom are very skilled at the game. We'll have to see how that plays out. It could be a nice shift up to the meta, or it could fall very much flat. We'll have to see.
Helicopters and others. And here, things are looking much more positive and unambiguous. This kind of gameplay will generally be simpler and more understandable for players. Although helicopters are harder to fly than planes, they're also slower and have less firepower.
Did you see how hard he rolled his eyes there? Helicopters are harder to fly than planes, and he just has this instant flashback to the 600 times he crashed when he was learning how to fly them. I saw that happen. You gotta read those little subtle body language hints. This man has seen some stuff. He's seen it.
В общем и целом, скорости меньше, дистанции огня меньше.
Looking down and to the right, that is remembering a traumatic event. Okay, it's IQs. Carry on.
Shorter firing distances and the pilot's influence in terms of piloting and shooting is greater, so it's entirely possible that helicopters will appear in our game before modern planes do. They also fit better with ground vehicles in terms of destroying each other. Everybody loves killing tankers, right?
I think I could take this guy. He's a scrapper, but I think I could take him. That has nothing to do with any of this video. Moving on.
Update 1.77 Advancing Storm added new top-level ground vehicles to the game, such as the Abrams, the T-64B, and others.
Maybe I couldn't take him. You know what? It's better to go after somebody more my own size.
And needless to say, this has affected the balance and changed the game at high ranks and battle ratings. In general, right now, 5 days after the release...
Wait. Does he also part his hair to the right? Is he a lefty? It could be a pretty good match. I'd box him. I could go for a boxing match. I don't box, but I think that'd be fun. I'd probably get my butt kicked.
We're satisfied with how they've been received by players and how they impacted the game's balance. But introducing top-level vehicles is bound to change the balance of all previous vehicles and will always change the game. In other words, it's a whole new adventure. Therefore, we're going to have to take another look at all those battle ratings affected by this change, so our work here has just begun. Write to us and tell us what you think. Leave feedback in the forums or on the comments, because your feedback is as important as statistics. They're the two primary part of the information we work with. However, while statistics show us dry facts, it doesn't do a great job of telling us how changes have been received by players or how they're affected the way the game feels to them. In order to get this information, we need to watch our players play. We need you to leave your feedback so we can read it. So write to us. We always study your feedback carefully. There will definitely be changes to both things that are already in the game and things that are yet to come. It always happens. But right now, players have been pretty positive about everything.
Everything? Pretty positive. I don't know. That might be a bit of cherry coating there. It's not always fun to talk about the things that people are actually complaining about, and I don't think that this video is about that. But, yeah, there's some things. What can we say? Top tier has always been controversial. But overall, it looks like the game's headed in a pretty good direction. Some interesting precedents have been made, and the War Thunder that we have now, especially with Update 177, is never going to be the same as it was before. Lines have been crossed, and of course, when you start talking about modern vehicles, there's just no way to have the kind of accuracy, of documentation, of it's not irrefutable. Even historical documentation is difficult to pin down exactly what is the true value. You really have to go measure things for yourself if you're gonna know, and that's just not possible for a lot of historical things, especially Japanese ones. I don't know. Just a few quality of life improvements I think would be nice, like having a better standard for repair cost. Just flat repair cost. What's your battle rating? You know what your repair cost is. Every vehicle at that battle rating, same repair cost. That gives a lot of vehicles more of a chance to make money, to grind for lions, and that's something that's very necessary in the game. But oh well, that's just a fun thing. Games don't have to be fun. Moving on.
В том, что и сейчас, и в будущем это всегда происходит. Пока все довольно.
I have no idea what pakapshon means, but it sounds really cool. Russian's a neat language.
I hope you liked Update 1.77 Advancing Storm. We spent over 6 months working on it.
I really like it. I mean, I might have sounded a little cynical here because I tend to like try and play the devil's advocate with these kinds of things, because whenever you get an official statement from a developer, from the person who's marketing the product, they're never gonna bring out like the shady stuff, right? The sketchy stuff, or the things that they're really not happy with about the update. And they're not going to bring in, you know, how they're specifically manipulating you, because everybody needs a little bit of manipulation if you're selling a product to them. And so I try to just kind of even things out. But I really love the update, and I'm excited to see where the game is going. Don't let my snide comments change your mind on how Update 177 is. I think it's been pretty fun. I've spent some time in the Abrams, and I've hated a lot of the statistics of the Abrams, but its actual in-game performance is great. I just need some accuracy. I'm running on a stock tank, and it really hurts to not have an accurate gun at top tier.
Almost a year, in fact. And we've put a lot of effort into it. Send us your feedback, write comments, like us, and subscribe to our channel.
Ставьте лайки и подписывайтесь на наш канал.
Alright, that appears to be it, guys. Feel free to share your comments in the comments section of the stream. Let's see, Anonymous, hi! Let's see, yeah, Japanese vehicles are going to be exciting. You know, it's hard to tell if anything is going to be especially powerful, so we'll have to see. Anyway, guys, thanks for dropping into the stream. I'll catch you in the next video. Goodbye.